what is the advantage of using a pipette over a measuring cylinder? So pipette is more accurate, it can measure the volume accurately. Then state and explain one disadvantage. What is the disadvantage of using a pipette? Because using a pipette, if you try to transfer the solution into another container or a flask, it will take time. So suggest one disadvantage. Suggest and explain one disadvantage of using a pipette to measure the volume of hydrogen peroxide. So it will take time to transfer the solution. So inaccuracy in the time will be more. This is exercise 3. Question number 1, C, 1 and D. Okay. From your graph, deduce the time at which the blue color would appear if the total volume of 4 cm cube of thiosulfate solution was added to a mixture in conical flask, and show clearly on this grid how you worked out this answer. So actually, if I show you the graph, just a minute, I will show you the exact graph for this. From your graph, deduce the time at which the blue color would appear if the total volume of 4 cm cube of thiosulfate solution were added to the mixture in a conical flask. So these are the points already. These are the points from the table. So when you join these points, it will form a straight line. So you will continue your straight line, and this is a volume of a thiosulfate. So draw a line when the total volume is 4 cm cube, and from that find the time. So how much time it will take for the blue color to appear. Is it clear? Then sketch on the grid the graph you would expect if the experiment was repeated. If the experiment was repeated at a higher temperature, so if experiment was repeated at a higher temperature, the color will appear in a short time. So this is the time for the color to appear. Let's say this was a graph. This was the original graph. For example, the black line is representing the original graph. But what happens if we increase the temperature? The color will appear in a shorter time. Because the time is on y-axis, so it will be less steeper, which shows that the same color will appear in a short time. So this is a sketch for part D, and this was for part C. From your graph, deduce the time. This is C1. From your graph, deduce the time at which the blue color would appear if the total volume of 4 cm cube of sodium thiosulfate. So you already have the graph. So this was your graph by marking the points. So you need time when 4 cm cube of sodium thiosulfate is used. So what you will do, you will extend your graph and draw the line from 4 centimeter and find what is the time. In this case, you will draw the best fit straight line. So you will neglect that point which appear to be inaccurate. Like if all the points actual graph should be like this. This is the correct graph. So you'll draw the best with straight line, and you have to show clearly on the grid. So when the volume of thiosulfate used is 4, what will be the time? You can identify the time. So this one was C1, C2, and D also a doubt. Suggest the purpose of the starch. Why we use starch? Basically, starch is used as an indicator. Because if a solution contain iodine or iodine is formed or iodine is there, so starch will give a blue. Here the reaction is sodium thiosulfate is reacting with potassium iodide. So the solution will form iodine molecule, and the purpose of the starch, whenever any chemical reaction involve a formation of iodine molecule or removal of iodine molecule, we use starch as an indicator. So starch shows the presence of iodine or use as an indicator. You wrote answer 3 minutes and 6 seconds. It depends on the scale which you took, but it should be in the same unit. Either it should be in minutes or either it should be in seconds. Pipette is accurate to measure 25 cm cube. Burette can measure smallest value, which is 0.1 cm cube, and measuring cylinder can maximum measure 100 cm cube. First, I will discuss the question, Afif, and then I will answer the doubt related to a topic. But right now, I'm discussing the question. So if you have doubt related to any part, you can ask. Question number 1, part E. Suggests one advantage of using a pipette. So when you use a pipette, pipette will be accurate. It can measure the accurate volume. But what is the disadvantage? The pipette, it will take time to transfer the solution. So increase the inaccuracy in measuring the time interval. Question 2, any doubt? Question number 2. Part F. What is the disadvantage of using a beaker instead of a conical flask? So basically, when you have a solution in a beaker, it is difficult to mix or shake the solution. But when you have a solution in a conical flask, this is a conical flask. So what is the advantage of mixing a solution in a conical flask? So it can easily mix together. The solution will not spill. So it's easy to mix solution in a conical flask rather than a beaker. So one disadvantage of using beaker instead of conical flask. So what is the disadvantage? It is difficult to mix or shake the solution. Yeah, the beaker, because it is difficult to mix, so it will spill. Question number 2, any doubt? Mention the part. Question 2, any doubt? Give one observation expected during this reaction. Acid is reacting with metal. So what is the observation when acid react with metal? When acid react with metal or metal plus acid, the result is salt and hydrogen. So what will be the observation when this hydrogen gas is given off? So you will observe phase, bubbles. The product is salt and hydrogen. So what will the observation? The observation, you will observe bubbles or phase or effervescence. Question number 3, any doubt? If you have any doubt in this, any part, just mention the part. No need to mention page number because I'm asking each question by question. So question number 3, any doubt? Suggest one advantage and one disadvantage of using a measuring cylinder. So what is the advantage? Using a measuring cylinder, we can transfer the solution quickly. And what is the disadvantage? It is not accurate. So advantage of measuring cylinder, the solution can be transferred quickly. And disadvantage is that it is not accurate because it can measure maximum to the accurate value is 1 cm cube, not more, not smaller value than that. So measuring cylinders are quick or easy to use. 2-part D. Give the volume of a gas at which two graphs level out and compare these volumes. So when you check the two graphs level out or that's constant. So this one is about 40 and the other one is 80. suggests why the graphs level out at different volume. So what is the reason why the volume of a gas given off is different? Because like one of the reaction is giving you 80 cm cube of hydrogen, another reaction is giving you 40 cm cube of hydrogen. What is the reason for that? It means that different mass of magnesium is used. I cannot mention different amount of hydrochloric acid is used because already they mention in the question an excess of hydrochloric acid is there, means more than enough hydrochloric acid. So you cannot mention amount of acid used is different. You have to mention that amount or the metal used in experiment 1 and 2 is different. That's why both graph level out at different volume. So the third one, the graph has been drawn again. So graphs have been drawn again. Draw the curve expected if experiment 1 was repeated using a same mass of magnesium powder instead of magnesium ribbon. Powder will have a large surface area, so faster rate of reaction. But amount is same mass is used, so final product will be same, but rate of reaction will be faster, so it will be steeper, but it will level out at the same amount. Is it clear? Question number 2D3. Question number 3 now. Any doubt in question 3? Any doubt in question 3? Question number 4. Any doubt in question 4? Four C, G, and okay. 4B3. In question number 4, plot the results and draw the smooth line graph. Just a minute, I will check anyone submitted that. So I'll repeat the point, like you have these points when you plot the result. And the question was which point appeared to be inaccurate. So when you join these points,
So what is the meaning of anomalous?
means the random result, not in the range. Like if I say a student perform an experiment to find the value of a gravity, he's getting 10, 10.8, 9.5, and he's getting 17. So which result is anomalous in this? So 17 is out of order. So the one which appear to be, you don't have to join, like you don't have to do like this. That's wrong. You have to neglect this point and join the other points. And what will be the volume of if the same exact it was readed? So it is about 68 or 69. And this was 4C. B3 was there. B was a graph and actually it was C3. Then 4G part. Suggest why the reading on the measuring cylinder was 30 cm cube after the acid has been added and before the timer had been started. So what is the reason? Like you can check here. In the beginning, when we did not start the timer, this is how originally it is. Then we add an acid. We add an acid to this. When acid react with metal, it will give gas, hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas, and already what happens, some of the air is also present. So when hydrogen gas is released, they will push the air, and hydrogen gas will move and will collect a sample of or a mixture of air and hydrogen. So now the question was, suggests why the reading on the measuring cylinder was 30 cm³ after the acid had been added and before the timer had been started. So we did not, we added the acid and we did not start the timer, and the reading is 30. So what is the reason for that? So basically this result in formation of a gas which will displace the liquid in a measuring cylinder. That's why we record 30 cm³ of volume. Four C, use your graph, deduce the total volume of a gas that you would have expected to collect instead of anomalous volume. So what will happen, how you'll work out, these are example your results. So when you join these points, you neglect the anomalous. So what you can do, you can identify what volume should be there instead of this anomalous. So according to your graph, the answer is about 68 to 70, but you will write answer according to your graph which you plotted. Why the readings are upside down if it's a measuring cylinder? So for a measuring cylinder, and it is inverted measuring cylinder. Like example, if you have a measuring cylinder, so where you will find 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. But if you invert this, then 10 will be up, like it will be upside down. So you will have 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. So this is the open part of the measuring cylinder. But you use it upside down for this experiment. That is why 10 is up, like 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. Is it clear? Question 3. Any part if I miss, just let me know. Any other part, question 3, you have doubt? Then question number 4. Okay, this was question 4, sorry. Question 5. Question number 5. Any doubt? Part C and part F. C, E, and F. From your graph, deduce the time taken for the printed words to disappear from when the experiment 2 was repeated at initial temperature of 73 and the final temperature of a mixture is 71. Show clearly on the grid how you worked out your. So what you have to do, because from your graph, deduce the time for the printed text or the word to disappear from viewing when experiment 2 was repeated at an initial temperature 73. So starting temperatures and the final temperature of a mixture is 71. So just a minute, I will show you the graph. So this one is a graph. And here, this graph is for average temperature. So if it is for average temperature, what is the initial temperature? 73. What is the final temperature? 71. So what will be the average temperature? 73 plus 71 divided by 2. So average temperature will be 72. So basically you need a time when the average temperature is 72. So what you will do, you will draw a line from temperature when it is 72 and find the, you will draw a line when the average temperature is 72 and find the time for the cross to disappear. Is it clear? Then part E and F. In which experiment 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or 5 was the rate greatest? So how you can identify which experiment the rate is the greatest? So this table is there. So you can identify from this table. This is a minute. So 1, 2, and 3 minutes. This is 3.5 minutes. So this is not correct. So 180 and plus 30. So 210. So which experiment the rate is the greatest? How you can identify the one which take the less time, least time, the rate is greater. So you can check here, this experiment was taking 54 seconds. The other are taking more than that. So which experiment the rate is or speed of a reaction is greatest? So experiment 5. And explain in terms of particles why the rate of reaction is greatest in this experiment. So you can mention uh, because the particles have more energy or particle move faster, so more effective collision. That's why the rate of reaction will be higher. Suggest and explain the effect on the result. A burette to measure the volume. So what is the advantage of using a burette? Burette will be more accurate. So reduce the error in volume. Then if we use 100 cm cube conical flask instead of 250, what is the advantage of that? Because if I say I use 250 cm cube conical flask, so solution is more spread out. If I use 250 cm cube conical flask, the solution is more spread out, means particle at this point will not get any chance to react with particle at the other edge. So the reaction will be relatively slower. But if I use a small conical flask, but the same volume, the total volume of a solution is same. Example, I add 50 cm cube of liquid in this conical flask, and here also I add 50 cm cube of liquid in a conical flask. But the maximum capacity of this conical flask is 250 cm cube, and the maximum capacity of this conical flask is 100 cm cube. So in which conical flask the reaction will be faster? This conical flask, the reaction will be faster. Why? Because the particles will be relatively closer to each other